Hello, my name is Dean Inners. That's not true. Hey, it's Loaded Buggy here, back with another Black Ops 1 Call of Duty commentary. And today we're talking about a rather large subject, but I think it's some that many of us, if not all of us, can relate to on some scale. And that's the battle of addiction. Many of us struggle with addiction, and some continue to struggle with it. I know I personally do. And whether it's on the large scale or on a small scale, I feel like we've all had issues with this at one way or another. And some of us, addiction comes in the form of alcohol or drugs or cigarettes or adult content. But some of us, it comes in things that seem smaller but still have a negative consequence on us, and that's addiction to your cell phone. That's addiction to fatty foods, fast foods. It's addiction to sodas. It could be any different kind of thing. Addiction at the end of the day is addiction, and again, I think it's kind of all on the level playing field, but I do think the consequences of some can kind of outweigh others, which is why it looked at a little bit differently. But again, I feel like we're all guilty here. But one thing that's, I think, is really important when it comes to the fight of addiction and getting over it and getting past it is to remind yourself that you're not alone in this, period. You can find help, and you can find people that have gone through this and beat this and get words of wisdom from them. But even if you can't, you do have to remind yourself at the end of the day, you're not the first person who has gone through this. You're not the first person who has beaten this, and you can do the exact same thing. You can get past whatever it is. You just have to find whatever thing it is that is motivating you to stay off of whatever that is, whether that's your phone, the drugs and alcohol, whatever it is. You got to find a motivation, a reason that makes you want to not do that thing. And that, at least for me, that has really helped me to overcome the temptation of grabbing my phone when I'm around my kids. I just have to remind myself that, no, their time is precious. They're only this little for so long, and me with the phone in my hand will leave a lasting impression on them, and not a good one. I want their impression of me to be that I'm highly involved, and that's one thing that motivates me to keep going. Another thing that I would mention to you is you will stumble in this battle. Some people will cut cold turkey and they find perfect success, but the chances are you will stumble, you will slip up to some degree, and setbacks are not the end of your battle. Setbacks does not mean that you have lost. Beating addiction is a war. It is something that you continually have to do because the temptation to go back to whatever that is always there. So it's a war. But just because it's a war does not mean that you can't lose a battle here and there. You will likely lose a battle here and there. I know I'm subject to that, and many of us are subject to that. You might slip up, you might lose the battle, but you have not lost the war. Addiction has not won the war over you. Another tip that I would give you that I also find that helps me a lot is an example that, many of you know that I'm a Christian, so I do use biblical references as examples just because it's what's comfortable for me, and whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. I think the examples are still relevant to success in certain areas, and I would think that this is one of them, and it's simply this. In the Bible, whenever David was tempted, what did he do? He ran away. There is no shame in running. If the addiction of alcohol is what's plaguing you, run away from that bar. Dump that Jack Daniels down the drain. Throw it out. Run away from it. Just leave it behind. There is no shame in running away from whatever is tempting you, because you're no less a man, you're no less a woman if you choose to run like a quote-unquote coward. But you running means you've won that battle. If you don't lose that step, you don't take a misstep there, you have won that battle, and you are not lesser of a woman or lesser of a man because you ran. That is a tip that I think is invaluable because it has worked for me on countless times. And again, I use the phone as a reference. Whenever I'm having trouble with picking up my phone and just relying on it, I toss it to the side, I put it in a different room, I leave it away, or I put it away, I leave it out of my sight, out of mind, and I ignore that thing. And it really, really helps. And another thing that I tend to do as well is whenever I'm feeling the urge to kind of have a setback, I tell someone, give yourself accountability. Accountability is the key. There needs to be quote-unquote consequences to motivate you to continue to resist. I mean, whenever you tell someone, hey, I'm struggling with this, and they give you accountability, whether it's a accountability partner in a program, or whether it's a friend, a pastor, a mentor, your wife, whatever it is, just letting them know where you are in your battle, and whenever you have an urge to have a setback, you let them know, and you let them help you walk through it and get past that battle, get past that temptation. Because temptation, again, it's always going to be there. And until you're strong enough to resist it by yourself, you got to ask for help. And again, there is no shame whatsoever in asking for help. You got to have people around you that can help you. And if those people aren't your family and your friends, there are programs to help you. I want to see you succeed. You can always reach out to me in the comments or on Discord, and I will give you the encouragement that you need. There are people that always want to help, and there are people that always want to see you succeed, whether they're close to you or not. And that's one thing that that I tend to slip up on, because as a man, I'm filled with pride. As a human, I'm filled with pride, and sometimes it's a little bit embarrassing to tell someone, hey, I'm struggling with this. But you got to get past it. And that's why I think it's important to find someone who's been through a similar struggle as you and ask them for help, because they'll have an understanding. They won't shame you for whatever it is you're having struggles with, and they can help you walk through it. One of the things that I think is key once you finally do get past the temptation and get past the addiction is that the freedom that you will receive from beating this addiction will rejuvenate your life. And at the end of the day, you will win this battle if you want to win this battle. You can't take a horse to water and make it drink. But if you want to win this battle, you will win it. So hopefully these tips and this perspective of mine will help you in the battle of addiction, because, again, I know we've all been there. So if you enjoy this type of content and you want to see more from me, please leave a comment down below on what you'd like to see in the future. Leave a like on this video and subscribe if you already haven't. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.